Hello everybody and welcome to another A+ 1102 lesson with a practice exam at the end, or some practice exam questions. So that way I'll tell you everything you need to know about this dot point within this exam objective, and I'll give you an idea as to how ready you actually are for your examination. So let's go ahead and get straight into it with the content. Today we're going to be looking at all of these command line tools. So by the end of this lesson, you should have a very good idea of when you should use each of these and what you should use them for and how it would look to actually use them. Let's get straight into it, not waste any time. The first one is ipconfig. So what it does is displays information about your network adapters. You simply type in ipconfig, and if you put no additional arguments in, it will display basic information. So what that would look like, right, I've got my my command prompt up here. I would just type in ipconfig, and that will give me my IP address and default gateway, IP4 address, IP6 address, etc. And then I can use that to do whatever troubleshooting or whatever task I need to do. Now that I have that information, give me my subnet mask as well, right? So everything I need to know. Now, when would you use that? It helps you troubleshoot network connectivity issues. You can verify what your IP address is, what your subnet mask is, your gateway, your DNS server information, things to that effect. And it is useful for manually configuring network settings, such as setting a static IP address as well. Okay, so in essence, if you need to know what your IP address is, ipconfig is a great tool for you. Now, we're going to go ahead and move to ping. It tests the network connectivity to a specific host by sending data packets. So you would simply type in ping and then wherever you want to ping, whether that be a host name or an IP address. So let's just say I want to ping someone. I would simply say ping, let's say 8.8.8.8, right? And it's going to tell me I'm sending 32 bytes. It's 11 milliseconds. Time to live is 117. Right, so it's giving me a lot of good information that I can use to see, really, is my network functioning? So if I were to ping someone and I didn't get any response, that would tell me, okay, maybe either they're down or I don't have network connectivity, and it would help me start to figure out that issue. So that's pretty much ping. It helps you verify if a device is reachable on the network. It helps identify potential network connectivity problems by analyzing packet loss and response times. So if you've got an issue with your network connectivity, ping is usually one of the first go-to things you might use. It's a quick one, it's a simple one, it's a good one. The next one is hostname. So it displays or sets the hostname of your computer. So you might just type in hostname, which would display the current hostname, or you could type in hostname and then type in your new hostname, which would set a new one. So let's just head over here. If I type in hostname, it will simply tell me my hostname is here. Not the most aesthetic hostname, but it is my hostname, and I'm proud of it, and I'm happy with it. So I'll leave it at that. It identifies your computer on a network. It tells you what your hostname is, essentially, right? All right. The next one is netstat. So what this does is displays various network-related information. If you type in netstat, it will show you pretty much, look, let's go here. It'll basically show you your active connections. So if I type in netstat, you can see I currently have the following TCP protocols running on the following addresses, right? And it tells me all of the established connections I have going. Some flags you can add in. So netstat-a will display all active TCP connections, and netstat-an displays all connections with IP addresses and port numbers, right? So that's good to know as well. So there is an example of another output here that you can have a look at. But basically, if you want to view your current active connections, netstat is a fantastic command to use. So nslookup. What does this do? It looks up information about domain names and IP addresses. So if you want to find out what is the IP address of a URL, or if you want to find out what the human readable URL is of a particular IP address, nslookup is a fantastic thing to be able to do. nslookup, what is the IP address of google.com? Aha, perfect. Google.com has the following addresses. That's the IPv6 and IPv4 address. So it gives me that information in case that is something that I want to know. We also have chkdsk. I'm not going to put this in because it's a pretty serious one, a pretty significant one. It checks the disk drive for errors in the file system and attempts to fix them. So you would type in chkdsk and then the drive letter that you want to do that on, and then whatever parameters it is that you would like to utilize. So there are various parameters available for specific actions. Some examples, you would type in chkdsk and then C, that would check the C drive for errors without fixing them. Chkdisk C:/F would check and fix errors on the C drive, but that requires dismounting the drive. And here's why I'm not going to run it. Running chkdisk/F might take longer as it fixes errors. Back up important data before running chkdisk with the -F parameter, because you don't want to lose anything. I don't even want to run that right now for the sake of demonstration. So it allows you to maintain your file system integrity by identifying and fixing errors that can lead to data corruption. All right. So we'll move on to NetUser. What does this do? It manages user accounts on the local computer, including creating, modifying, and deleting user accounts. So there are some examples here. NetUser, simply typing that in, will display a list of user accounts. NetUser with a username will display the information about a specific user. NetUser with a username and a password would set a password for the user. NetUser username/add would create a new user account. NetUser username/delete would delete a user account. That's pretty intuitive. Important to note that administrative privileges are required for most of these commands, right? So you can see here, I've typed in NetUser, and I'm the only user on my computer, so I've just got I've got that output there. That's a rough example of what you might expect to see. So if you're asked to find the different user accounts, you might want to type in NetUser, right? So it helps manage local user accounts for login access to the computer. It's also useful for adding, removing, and modifying user accounts as needed. The next command is netuse. What does this do? It connects to and disconnects from shared network resources such as network drives and printers. So you would type in netuse, which would display a list of all currently connected network resources. You could type in netuse and then followed by a drive letter. So for example, C:, and then the name of the shared drive. That would map a network drive by using that command. So you get the gist. There are a wide variety of different options you can use, and essentially what you'd want to use netuse for is to gain access to shared resources on a network by mapping them as local drives. So that makes them a lot easier to access. There'll be a click of a button away. It's useful for accessing files and printers on other computers over the network. The next one is traceroute or tracert. What does this do? It traces the route taken by data packets to reach a specific destination. You would type in traceroute, or sorry, tracert, as it is spelt, followed by the hostname or IP address. So what does this look like? Let's say I'll do the same IP address, so traceroute 8.8.8.8, and you'll notice it gives me some more information than I get with ping, right? So I am getting the specific details from my modem to the next IP address, and then I'm getting the specific details for that IP address to that IP address. So it allows me to actually, with pinpoint accuracy, see where along this line am I beginning to have any network issues? Where is that beginning to happen? And if it fails somewhere, so if the connection is dropped, I'll be able to see at which point it's actually dropping. So it says trace complete, and that's my data. So with a ping, if a ping fails, you'll just get a failed ping. But with traceroute, you can get that more specific information as to where exactly it failed, and also along the line, what was your latency? How long was it taking? So it's good for getting that additional information. Format command formats a disk drive, erasing all data and preparing it for use. You might want to use the following syntax, or you'll have to use the following syntax. Format, followed by the drive letter, and then you can choose your file system there's various options available. So look, what does it do? It erases all data on the drive, and you're reformatting the drive, right? So don't play around with that one. Don't try to use that on yours unless you're aware of what you're getting yourself into. I'm not going to do it on mine for the sake of explaining for this video, because I don't want to format my drive. I don't want to lose everything I have. I don't want to back it up just for the sake of this video. When would you do this? It prepares a new disk drive for use by creating a file system. It can be used to erase a drive completely before reinstalling an operating system. Of course, that means you'll lose data, so keep that in mind. Now, we also have xcopy. So xcopy is a command that copies files and directories from one location to another. It offers more options than the basic copy command for advanced copying tasks. So the syntax would be xcopy, what are you copying, where are you copying it to, and then any relevant options that you want to put in there as well. So an example here, xcopy, right? You might copy documents and then the name of the document, and you're copying that to C: backup, and then here are your flags for options there. So this would copy all files from the documents folder to the backup folder, including subdirectories, which is that flag E, and overwriting existing files, which is the flag Y, if necessary. Okay, so it has those options for various different details with the flags. The benefits: it provides more control over copying operations compared to the basic copy command, and it's useful for copying entire directory structures with specific options. The next one is a simple copy command. As we see here, it's just a simple clone. So what does it do? It simply copies files from one location to another. The syntax: copy, source, and destination. So an example is copy important file.txt, drive letter / documents. So that would copy that file to that location, or copy that file to the documents folder. It's a simple and quick way to copy individual files, and it's useful for basic file transfer needs. Not very complicated. So that's in contrast to the next one, which is robocopy, which is potentially the most complex of the three. It is a robust copying tool for advanced tasks. It can copy entire directory structures, handle errors gracefully, and offer more logging options compared to xcopy and copy. So it's the most advanced and the most complicated of the three. So you can see the syntax here: source, destination, and then whatever options it is. So for example, you've got options for filtering, retries, logging, etc. Just think of it as it gives you complete control over how you want to copy, what you want to copy, where you want to copy, when you want to copy, everything you want to copy. Why would you use it? It is ideal for complex copying tasks involving large directory structures and error handling, and it offers detailed logging for troubleshooting and verification. So you've got these three that we looked at for copying: xcopy, copy, and robocopy. Make sure you know the differences between those and when you would use each. Okay, the next one is GP update. What does this do? We've gone through this roughly already in prior videos, but we'll do it again because it's in here. It updates group policy settings on a domain joined computer. So you're updating your group policy settings on a computer that's attached to a domain. So the syntax is simply GP update / force, which would force an immediate update, or GP update / wait, which waits for the update to complete. An example: GP update / force. We just went through what that was. And then GP update is only relevant in a domain environment where group policy is used for centralized management. So we talked about domains versus work groups in one of the 1.1 objectives. You would only really have GP update in one that is in a domain, which does explain why Windows Home doesn't have the GP update functionality, because it also doesn't have the functionality to join a domain. So if you're not on a domain, you don't really need GP update. So the benefits of this: it ensures the computer has the latest group policy settings applied, which can affect user permissions, security policies, and system configurations in a domain. It's useful for troubleshooting issues related to missing or outdated group policy settings. The next one, GP result. This displays the resulting group policy settings applied to a computer or user. So you've done your GP update, you've updated the group policy, but GP result will show you what the current group policy settings are for that particular user. So GP result / R will show detailed information about applied group policy settings, or GP result / V will show verbose output with additional details. An example, right? GP result / R, again, yeah, it'll give you a report on all applied group policy settings for the computer, so you can see what's currently applied to that computer and what would you like to change about that based on those results. It provides a detailed view of the group policy settings currently affecting the computer or user, and it's useful for troubleshooting issues relating to missing or incorrect group policy application. So you might be asked a question on your exam, such as, Mark is unsure of the current group policy settings applied to the computer / user. What command could he use to find out? Of course, GP result / R would be the answer there, right? So that's the kind of thing you're going to want to know for your exam. The next one is shutdown. It's in the name. The shutdown command shuts down your device. Or it can also restart the computer locally or remotely. That's kind of cool, right? Over the network, you can shut down another device or computer over the network through the command. Syntax: shutdown /s /t would be time in seconds. It would shut down the computer after a specified amount of time. Shutdown /r /t would be time in seconds. Restarts the computer after a specified time. Shutdown /l logs off the current user. Shutdown /a aborts a scheduled shutdown, right? So that one's pretty intuitive. You've got some examples down here you can look at. Why would you use it? It offers various options for shutting down. Maybe you want to do a countdown clock, who knows? Restarting or logging off the computer. It's useful for system administration tasks like controlled restarts or scheduled maintenance, all right? So that is when you might want to use that command. Almost there. SFC, this is an important one. They're all important, but this is particularly important. I think this is likely going to be in a question, might even be on a performance-based question for you. System file checker scans for and repairs corrupted system files. So you might have a corrupted file, you might want to check if it's corrupted. SFC is what you would use to do that. So the syntax, exactly how you would do it, would be sfc /scan now, all one word, would perform a system scan and repair. sfc /scan now, the benefits of this is it maintains system stability by identifying and repairing corrupted Windows system files. It's useful for resolving issues that might be caused by damaged system files, of course. Okay, so make sure you know that. You can type in a command name followed by a space, / and a question mark, and that will give you the information you need to know about a command name. So you can see here, I've typed that in. Give me some information on ping. Ping space / question mark, and it tells me all of the different flags I can use and what those different flags do. Okay, you can do that for any command. That's a really cool thing to be able to do, to know about, especially when you're in the middle of it and you're like, oh, what does this do? I don't want to have to go over to Google. Just type that in. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Diskpart is a command that allows you to engage in advanced disk partitioning tasks. It allows creating, deleting, formatting, and managing disk partitions. So it should be used with caution because improper usage can lead to data loss. You do not want to lose your data. Simply type in the command diskpart, which would launch the diskpart command line tool. Once you're in that command line tool, you can use various commands to manage partitions. Here are a few examples. You can have a read of those there. When would you want to use this? You would want to use it in order to get granular control over disk partitions for advanced users. Key for advanced users. In your day-to-day life, you're never really going to use this, but knowing that it's there, knowing what it's good for is a good thing to do. It's useful for tasks like creating new partitions, resizing existing partitions, or formatting drives for specific file systems as well. Okay. Again, make sure you're cautious when using it because otherwise you could pretty much mess up everything that you've ever worked for. 2 more to go. Let's head on to the next one. The next one is path ping. Similar to ping and traceroute, it's in that kind of family of commands. Path ping combines functionalities of ping and traceroute and provides detailed information about network path quality over time. So again, same syntax, path ping followed by whatever IP address or hostname you want to have a look at, or you could even use the URL address. So let's go ahead and bring up my command, and I might say path ping, and I'll do the same one, 8.8.8.8. All right, so this is the output that it's given me. I've done path ping 8.8.8.8. It's traced my route to 8.8.8.8. It has shown me the individual hops along the way and the IP addresses of each of those, right? So it's kind of combining functionalities, as it says here, of ping and traceroute. I'm not going to necessarily wait for that to complete because I'll be here all day, so I'm going to go ahead and kill that. But you can see how that might be something that you might want to use. It's good for a more comprehensive view of network path quality when compared to ping by measuring packet loss and latency along the route over time, and it's useful for identifying potential bottlenecks or inconsistencies that might affect network performance. So if I let that processing finish, it would give me some more information and data, but so long as you know what it is, give it a go yourself. Try to actually use these yourself. You should be using each of these, and I'll give you an activity at the end that I recommend you be able to do there. The final one is a nice and simple one. Winver simply displays information about the Windows version and build number. So if I bring up this and I say winver, it will just make this little window pop up here, as you see, and it tells me my Windows version. That's all that does. Okay. So that being said, we're going to get into the questions, but before we do, here's what I'd recommend you do. Yes, practice using each of these. I would actually recommend you have a look at, if you have my learning guide over at journeytocyber.com, have a look at the functions, or research the functions using this video, your own research. Make a list of the different tasks you could potentially complete by using the commands, but don't put the commands down. So, have a list of tasks. It might say like a simple, quickly and simply test the network connection to by interacting with a particular IP address. And then you'd have to look at that and you have to say, oh, what command should I use? Right, that'll be ping, of course. Scan my file systems and cure any corrupted files. Oh, what would that be? That would be sfc/scan now, and actually practice doing that. So you'd look at the task that you've set and you've actually practiced typing in the command to complete that task, okay? That's what I'd recommend you be able to do. That being said, let's move on to our questions. Question number 1 reads, you are working from home and your video conferencing calls keep dropping. You suspect that there might be an issue with your internet connection. Which of the following commands would be the most helpful in diagnosing the initial problem? A, hostname, B, ipconfig, C, ping, google.com, or D, netstat-A. Answer coming up in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. Your answer is ping, google.com. The ping command, of course, as we went through in this video, allows you to quickly, easily, and simply test your network connection by interacting with a particular IP address. The next question reads, a website you frequently visit seems to be loading very slowly. You suspect it might be an issue with how your computer translates the domain name to the website's IP address. Which of the following commands would be most helpful to diagnose the problem? A, nslookup, google.com. B, chkdsk, C: C, net user, D, net use. Your answer in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. It is nslookup, google.com. Again, the nslookup command allows you to query DNS servers to get that relevant information. So that is what you would want to use in that particular instance. If you didn't get that one, maybe go back and rewatch the video. All right. The next question reads, you are working on a critical project and need to access a file on a shared network drive. However, when you try to access the drive, you receive an error message. Which of the following commands would be the most helpful to determine the cause of the issue? A, traceroute, google.com. B, format C. C, xcopy documents / **C:*/backup, or D, net use. Answer in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. Your answer is D, net use. So again, that net use command is the most helpful for diagnosing issues relating to shared network drives, because it'll give you that information you need to know. You can see what's wrong, see what's right, and go from there. Look, if you found this video useful, go ahead and head over to journeytocyber.com. As I'm sure you're aware of by now, I have my learner guide over there where I have comprehensive notes, active recall questions, practice examination questions, just like we just had a couple there in this video. And it's broken down not only by exam objective, but by each dot point within each exam objective as well. And you also have an online quiz database that you can use in order to have a simulated examination experience. So with that being said, here's what people are saying about my previous learning guide. This is for my 1101 learning guide. For my 1102 one, I took everything everyone liked and I put it on steroids, so it's so much better. But this is what people are saying. Your learning guide is goated. It helps with organized information and helps me piece things together more easily. Your notes helped me pass my test today. I downloaded your learning guide and I can see that it will help immensely. I tried other popular resources but struggled absorbing the material. So you've got your notes, your online quiz database, your active recall questions, your practice examination questions, all there. And I've also got performance-based questions there for you as well. So look, that's at journeytocyber.com. Grab those. You'll be as happy as that guy. But if you're just happy with these free videos, it's more than enough, really. You just got to wait for the next one to come out. So with that being said, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.